Hello, y'all. I hope you're having a happy summer. A few announcements before we dive into the topic of dread. By the time you hear this episode, I will have recorded and released the Patreon live stream Q&A for August. The topic is overthinking and rumination. It's part of why I chose dread today for today's public episode. If you're interested in this topic, you can come listen on our Patreon now. By the time this episode is released, this Patreon live stream for August will be archived for you. September's topic is understanding our egos. And as a highly sensitive person, it's very useful to understand this thing we talk about all the time, our own human egos and the human ego in the human condition. You are welcome and encouraged to participate, or you can come lurk, so there's no participation required, so you can meet yourself exactly where you are, wherever you are doing this work. You can take what you need and you can leave the rest. And as always, thank you, Patreon people, for your support, and I hope y'all are enjoying the commercial-free episodes there this year. If you're interested in the Patreon and all we offer there and participating in the live streams, come find us at patreon.com/emotionalbadass. If you're healing from dysfunctional relationships, I invite you to our 2-hour September workshop. It's the first time we're doing this. Has nothing to do with our Patreon, though our Patreon people do get a discount code. Our September workshop is mapping your recovery from narcissistic abuse. Overwhelm and confusion, damage and self-trust. These are so often a part of the fallout from this type of manipulative abuse that it can feel like standing in one spot, spinning in a circle, trying to figure out, where do I go? Where do I start? What do I do next? Because there's so much to do. Come hang out with me Saturday, September 21st, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Mountain Time. And if you can't be there live, come secure your spot so that you can get the replay. You may be at the beginning or the tail end of your recovery. Come meet yourself wherever you are and map where you'd like to be on your healing and self-development journey. Patreon people, come find your half-price discount. I've already seen some of you sign up. I cannot wait for this event to sign up and secure your spot in the September workshop. Come to emotionalbadass.com/workshops. Welcome to Emotional Badass, where Moxie meets mindful. I'm your host, Nikki Eisenhauer, life coach and psychotherapist. And on today's episode, we're discussing emotional strength training using the emotional thesaurus. We're talking about dread today. All right, y'all, Dread and the Emotion Thesaurus. This is one of my favorite books. The authors are Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi. I love learning and expanding awareness and emotional intelligence from things that have nothing to do with therapy or therapeutic tools. This is not a self-help book. This is a writer's guide to character expression. One of the strange quirks about me is that I have loved all things dictionary and thesaurus since I was a little kid, which makes sense. I obviously like learning, explaining, making sense of the world, and I love words and language. It was a good bet that you could catch me at 2 a.m. in bed reading a basic dictionary or a thesaurus from the age of about 10 to 16. And I've carried that love all of my life, and I hope I always will. I love the Emotion Thesaurus. And if you like this episode, you can search Emotional Badass and the Emotion Thesaurus to check out the other episodes I've done using this resource over the years. So today, dread. I mean, even saying the word feels heavy and hefty, doesn't it? Dread. It's like just dropping something heavy down a well. Dread. Dread is such a powerful word. And it gets at what so many HSPs, highly sensitive people, feel. We tend to feel a lot of dread. To be super clear with you, I really never intended to work with highly sensitive people. The truth is that my education pounded into my head that I needed to pick my specialties. And this really fried my brain during school and as a brand new baby counselor. I thought, how am I supposed to decide this? I just, make this decision and make it my specialty? What if I'm not good at it? I just decide? I mean, this was a directive which to me in this day and age, after an almost 2-decade career as a counselor, this is a very headily driven decision. It's not really how I work. It's not how I process life and choices. It's part of why this directive, Nikki, choose your specialties, felt daunting to me. I chose grief, I chose addiction, I chose trauma as conscious, heady decisions for my specialties as a therapist. This fourth specialty of highly sensitive people, y'all found me. Early in my career, I started noticing that there were clients that I really had an affinity for and that had an affinity for me. And we easily and quickly connected deeply. And the work we did was so profound. So as I began looking at what these clients had in common and why they were drawn to me, why I was drawn to them, I started realizing that I was getting an education in the specific population of highly sensitive people. That somehow highly sensitive people were finding me like I was some kind of lighthouse, like I was some kind of beacon and sending out some kind of signal. Y'all were finding me. I say with so much affection and love, almost forcing me into this specialty. Like the universe had this plan in mind for me and it was going to send me down this path, even if I didn't realize that that's where I was going. So I've come to know in practicing this specialty for at least the last 15 years. And in learning after being a baby therapist that I was a highly sensitive person, that there was a name for who I am, for what I am, for how I move through the world. As I learned the terms intuitive and empath and realized, wow, this is really a thing. I can see these characteristics, these traits, these lenses for life that I hold and carry. And so do these clients that connect with me so easily and so deeply. I have come to know that there are many, many, many common threads that come with this personality, this temperament, this human part of our condition. For those of us that have an abundance of empathy, our heightened observer qualities. Additionally, what I found is that each highly sensitive person seems to operate almost as if in some kind of lonely vacuum. As if these differences that we have, we tend to be 15 to 20% of the population, which means 80 to 85% of the people we meet, the people we're related to, the people in our circles are not wired like we are, which means a lot of the feedback we've gotten has made us feel weird and alien and strange. So each highly sensitive person that I've met and worked with professionally or personally seems to be in their own kind of high sensitivity bubble, and they think that their differences are so unique or so weird or so strange to them. Most of my clients are very shocked if and when I point out, hey, I think the thing you're talking about right now is a really common HSP thing. And most clients look at me in that moment and go, are you sure? Really? This isn't just me? This might be an HSP thing? Yes. And there's relief in realizing this. Because if other people have some of our qualities, it means other people are figuring this out. And if other people are figuring this out, then I can figure it out too. One of the commonalities in our HSP community is that we dread. If we go the Western medicine route, it's very easy. I'm going to say it's even cheap at this point to get a generalized anxiety disorder diagnosis. And I buck making so much of the human condition disordered. Initially, mental health worked to end stigma, and in the plight to end stigma about seeking mental health services and not feeling bad or embarrassed about needing some help on the mental health front, we've sort of gone too far, in my opinion. And we've made what's different in the human population disordered. That's not great for humankind. That's not great on the individual level, and that's not great collectively. I love our highly sensitive differences. It has been a great beauty of my life that I get to help people stop fighting their own differences and learn to work with them. And when we do, what makes us different can become more of an asset. Longtime listeners, you've heard me say this a lot. There is a beauty and a burden to high sensitivity. And until we learn some real coping strategies, until we really use our big compassion for our own selves and stop just giving compassion away, this is when we get more of the beauty and less of the burden. If we understand our differences better, then we understand our self-care better. I can't self-care like the average person out there because I need my self-care differently, more nuanced to me and who I am than the 80 to 85% of the people out there. We need not pathologize what is different or even what is difficult about ourselves. So we tend to dread. Functionally, this looks like we tend to carry the weight of the future in our present moment. Now, take a beat with me right now to think about what that means. Whether that future is happening in a couple hours, let's say with a work meeting, or we might be carrying future stress about what's going to happen with our health, what's going to happen with the economy, what's going to happen with our bills next month. We might think what's going to happen in 20 years to something. It doesn't matter the length of time. The thing to understand here towards being able to take care of ourselves around this propensity is that we hold the weight of what's coming in a way that the average person really doesn't. Now, it certainly can be argued. If you go find some other professionals in mental health, you will hear this argument and they will fight you on what I'm saying right now. And I understand why, I just disagree with it. It really can be argued that this dreading, this carrying the future in the present moment is entirely a trauma response. There are people who think all of high sensitivity comes from trauma, and that someone like me needs to stop making it a positive thing. It isn't. It comes from trauma, and that's just where they stop in the high sensitivity conversation. I buck that through and through. Because I've had an almost 20-year career, I have worked with many, many people for a long time. I have watched their children be born. I have seen their children make it to adulthood. And I can see where the children of highly sensitive people are often highly sensitive themselves without having been traumatized. I also believe that trauma increases our sensitivity. But I do believe that I was born with a propensity to feel more, to have more of whatever the connecty stuff is in a human being. That I know that I have a gift today to be able to connect with others, to be able to sense what's going on in a room that I do not attribute to just trauma and trying to keep myself safe. Remember to find Emotional Badass wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to hit that subscribe and follow button to get more videos like this in your feed. But this dread can really meet up, this holding of what's coming in the future can be more of a negative hypervigilance connected to our trauma history. Because we don't tend to hold the future of things happening like, wow, something amazing is coming for me. If we held it that way, it wouldn't feel so heavy. It would feel more buoyant, like a balloon with helium in it, instead of like a 1,000-pound weight that we're trying to figure out how to carry forward when it's so heavy and cumbersome and weighs us down and wears us out. I understand that headier people, many of you have even been to therapists that didn't understand high sensitivity. I understand that headier people who aren't highly sensitive, they sometimes might want it to be true that all of our sensitivity comes from trauma. Because when we're not actively in the trauma, this really is a superpower. I love that I can see a baby smile or a sunrise or a sunset and be moved to tears, that I can bubble over in joy and delight in a tiny, simple moment, in a hummingbird flying near my face and making eye contact with me, that can move me to tears. I love that about me. I don't ever want that to change. So I ask you, if you believe you're a highly sensitive person, and if you believe your sensitivity was increased by trauma, I encourage you to go back to your early life and consider if you were born with this propensity or if experience gave you this propensity. And then consider if it even matters. Because either way, you get to lean into more of the beauty and less of the burden. I think this is the essence of self-development for a highly sensitive person. That we get to feel lighter every day, every month, every year of our lives. If we're not giving ourselves such permission, what are we doing? Are we accidentally saying, yep, it gets to be heavier sometimes. I don't want it to be heavier. Not for me and not for you. In understanding our propensity to dread, we can learn to work with it. We can learn to put down the heavy weight so that we really can embody the lightness that's somewhere in our mind. We know that it's available to us and we deserve it, even if we just don't know quite how to let ourselves have it. Empaths seem to have at least a bitty bit of the gift of prophecy. I would never tell you that I'm psychic. That just doesn't resonate with me. That is a woo-woo bridge too far for me. I'm cool with you. If you own that word, you love that word, it resonates with you. But for me, it's a woo-woo bridge too far. But my long-term clients, even my family and friends, would likely tell you that I do, in fact, know things. That in the tangible, real-world realm, I should not be able to know. I feel more authentic and truthful saying the gift of prophecy, meaning I can sense and sometimes see what is coming. And if this is true of me, if this is true of highly sensitive people, and especially empaths, can you see that in a life that has had a lot of hardship, a lot of parental trauma and neglect, a whole lot of loss, a life that has taught someone to thwart security and invite anxiety and mistrust, that we could and would learn to hold the future with dread? See, that gift of prophecy on its own is neutral. Prophecy, seeing what's coming, holding space of what's coming, would be neutral. When we add too much hardship, that's when the dread comes in. And we start to look for dread because hard things have come. It makes a simple kind of sense to us. So we learn when life has been hard to hold whatever is coming for us in the future with trepidation, with fear, with stress. Yes, an all-encompassing dread. One of the live stream questions that has come in for the Overthinking and Rumination live stream chat is basically, this is me paraphrasing, it's about getting ready for bed. And instead of a nice stretch, a nice, lovely vibe of, all right, today is over. Now I get to rest. I really earned this rest. Let me lay down and reset. The average HSP out there gets ready for bed, gets horizontal, and lays there and dreads. And it washes over them cruelly and unfortunately with the opposite energy of let's sink into sleep. This energy has more of a total and complete overwhelm to it. Yes, a dread. A sense of I will never be enough. There will never be enough hours in the day to do all the things. Therefore, I'm failing. I can never get ahead. And that is not the energy of good night, sweet dreams. Be rested. The trick to changing this dread dynamic, which brings overthinking, lack of sleep, the domino effect from this holding of dread, something bad is coming, or a sense of lack, I don't have enough to handle whatever's coming. The trick to changing this dynamic is in first being able to mindfully catch it. And I mean catch it in the beginning little tickles of dread. And then head that dread off at the pass to not allow that dread to build momentum like a snowball rolling down a mountain, gaining speed and mass. We want to say, no, dread, you're not allowed to do that in me. No snowballing. Most of us who have lived this type of dreading energy, we've had dread normalized because we've practiced it. Y'all hear me talk about emotional strength training. The truth is we are practicing emotional things constantly, whether we realize it or not. And if we, for whatever reason, wind up in a pattern where every night we're going to sleep and we're accidentally practicing dread, then you're also practicing normalizing that dread is just there. Like my kind of wild hair, if you're watching me on video, I have kind of wild hair. It's hard to tame. But it's normalized to me. If I woke up with smooth, blonde, straight hair tomorrow, that would be super weird. My wild and wily hair is normalized to me. Our dread gets normalized to us, where it's just there. Like the shape of our nose, like the shape of our eyes, the sound of our voice. And because of this normalization, because of this conditioning ourselves to normalize a relationship with dread and anxiety and overthinking, it's harder to notice. So we really need to activate the little birdie of mindfulness that can sit on our little shoulder and whistle at us like the canary in the coal mine to tell us, hey, that dread is here again. If we can accept that that dread is responsible for zapping so much of our energy, that dread, that holding of what's coming in a negative light with fear, trepidation, this makes life heavy and stressful. If we realize this is what we're doing, then we can be more conscious, more intentional, more directional. We could even be more useful with our thoughts, our behaviors, so that we can condition ourselves towards something different, something that works better, something that is lighter. So to change this sort of constant sucky dread, we must first learn to identify when that dread is starting up in our system. I'm going to read to you from page 63 in the Emotion Thesaurus. If you're on video, here is the book. All right. Dread. The definition of dread: a nearly overpowering fear to face or meet, a strong desire to avoid a future event or circumstance. One of the things I haven't said yet is about introversion versus extroversion. Extroverts can most certainly dread, but introverts make it an art form. Here's a physical sign. Holding the stomach as if pained. Check in with yourself right now. Are you holding your stomach in, bracing, clutching arms to one's chest, shoulders curling forward, caving the chest in? We do this when we feel threatened, because we're protecting the heart. We're covering our throat. We're hunching over in a protective posture. Those of you who have chronic pain, think about the implications of that if you have chronic neck, shoulder, jaw pain. A bent neck, again, hunching, leaning back or away from the source of discomfort, dragging footsteps. Think about what that means in terms of body language of us walking into our future. If we're dreading, we're dragging our footsteps, we're literally resisting walking forward into our future with our heads held high. Our heart space open. We make excuses to leave. Every introvert out there, when I'm coaching this, I want you to know you don't need an excuse to leave. You really can just leave. And that's part of where the dread hides, isn't it? Oh gosh, I need an excuse. No, you don't. I don't want to be here anymore, or I've had enough, or I'm tired, I'm ready to leave. Thank you so much for having me. You don't need some kind of made up excuse, the way your body and your mind may have learned throughout your life if you've been around a lot of dysfunctional people. Quiet voice, offering one-word responses. To me, this is about trying to shrink, trying to get small. Like I can dread the moment so much, I might as well just shrink and disappear from it. Hunched posture, a drooping head, clasping one's knees together tightly, avoiding eye contact, turning the torso, shielding it, lifting the shoulders as if to hide one's neck. I often say in the live streams, we have a meditative moment in the Patreon, and I often ask people to drop their shoulders down. You might sweat. You might rock slightly. If we're rocking, what that is that's our subconscious going, uh-oh, she really needs some soothing. Let's activate rocking. The same way we might pick up a baby that's fussy and without even thinking of it, rock back and forth, whether we're parents or not. That's sort of a primal instinct in our human nature to rock, to soothe. I think we all have this in our awareness, unfortunately, but it's an example that a very traumatized person may sit and rock. We have old videos of people in insane asylums who were not cared for properly, just rocking and rocking and rocking and rocking. That really is an attempt to self-soothe from the subconscious level. Hands might tremble. We might seek the safety of darkness, an exit, etc. Holding one's elbows tightly against sides so you can hear a theme of tightness, of bracing. Really imagine over 1 minute, over an hour, over a day, how much energy that actually for real takes of your body to be bracing so much. Whether you've been aware of that bracing, or maybe this is your first awareness of it, hearing me highlight these things. A downward gaze, using the hair as a shield. So if we're dreading life, how do we feel confident about life? Can you hear how a lot of this could also be described as low self-confidence, low self-worth? We may make ourselves appear smaller. We may huddle in the corner behind or against something. We may flinch or cringe. We can hear the overlap here. Longtime listeners, you've heard me acknowledge for many, many, many years of my life, till the recent years of my life, I had a very strong startle response. I don't have that kind of startle response anymore. Now my startle response is more that of a normal nervous system instead of a traumatized one. Uncontrollable whimpering, increased swallowing, arms crossing the stomach in a protective huddle. There's more protection. Rubbing and twisting one's hands, spinning rings or bracelets, fidget spinners. We actually may fidget to try to get this anxious, dreading energy to give it someplace to go. We might scratch at the skin, picking or biting the nails. Again, a frenetic, nervous energy. We might clutch comfort items. A necklace, a charm, a phone. Those of you who smoke cigarettes or vapes, I could make the argument it's even more of a comfort device than a vaping device. Chewing at one's lips or inner cheek, maybe even making them bleed. A pale or sickly complexion. What that says to me is it's hard to feel vibrant and vivacious about ourselves or life if we're in too much dread. Those were physical signals. Here are some internal sensations. And this is part of why I love this book. because it breaks us down for us so into these physical signals and then internal sensations. So check these out. See what you resonate with or what you don't. A rolling stomach, that nauseous fluttering we're so familiar with, right? A heavy or sluggish heartbeat. Now, another little tidbit about me. I can remember being at my, what do we call child doctors? There's a name for it. I remember being at my pediatrician that I loved. He was like Mr. Rogers. I'm not kidding, like Mr. Rogers' twin. It was a wonderful thing for me as a kid. But I can remember him telling me about my irregular heartbeat. And all the way till I got to Colorado, I had an irregular heartbeat. I no longer have it. I got it checked out a couple years ago by a cardiologist friend of mine. I no longer have an irregular heartbeat. Now, what does that mean? Do we know? Can't know for total sure. But I know that I wanted to heal it. I know that I no longer feel this sense of dread. Could it be that my emotional and mental healing had this type of profound effect on my heart? I think so. What do you think? So I no longer have a heavy or sluggish heartbeat or an irregular heartbeat. Internal sensations, maybe internal chills, cold fingers, a tingling in the body or chest. You might feel heavy in the chest, actually feel weighted down. You may have difficulty breathing. I mean, if I asked you to hold something that was 50 or 75 pounds and walk around for a while, you'd probably start feeling some shortness of breath. It makes sense that if we're carrying around heavy emotional thoughts, that there would be some kind of impact on how we breathe too. An ache in the back of the throat. I think a lot of highly sensitive people could resonate with that. I think there are lots of moments where we either accidentally say too much or accidentally shut ourselves down and say too little. And we may sense this in our actual throat area, our throat actually feeling tight, restricted. We might have difficulty swallowing. We might have a dizziness, maybe even from overwhelm, that the room might spin. We may need to sit down and steady ourselves. We may feel shaky in the limbs. And again, how do we feel confident if we feel shaky and dizzy and we're having trouble breathing? Here are some mental responses, another breakdown in this book. We might have thoughts of escape. Now, what highly sensitive introvert out there has not had thoughts of escape for any kind of work or social event? I try in my work to take the, this is a dark secret, out and away from this. It doesn't have to be a dark secret. It's not a bad thing that you're doing. You've just heard 80 to 85% of the people in life give you feedback that it's weird that you want to leave a party so early because it doesn't work like that for them. I'm normalizing it for you. Yeah, of course I want to escape almost every event I go to. I also evaluate, is it good for me to be here? And if it is, I let that go. We might want to hide. We might wish time would speed up so that we can hurry up and leave. An inability to see a positive outcome. Now, this is a big, big deal when it comes to dread. Highly sensitive people, because of hypervigilance, because of dread, because of this dynamic of holding the future things through a negative lens, it's very, very easy to see the potential for a negative outcome. A scary, sad thing that we have to really deal with as highly sensitive people is that at a point, I'll just say it like this, that's not fair for you to keep doing to you. It's not fair to only let yourself pick up the negative lens of what could go wrong and look through it for your own life or for the bigger life that we're living through. Life is already unfair enough. If you're going to be unfair to yourself too, it's going to be even harder. I don't want that for you, and I certainly don't want that for me. So we work on intentionally picking up a positivity lens. A truth that a hypervigilant body doesn't like to hear Because it's like, no, it's smart to be hypervigilant, Nikki. Don't make a good point that makes it seem like I shouldn't be hypervigilant all the time. But I'm going to make it. It's reasonable, it's right, it's fair, it's balancing, it's calibrating, it's healthy for you to intentionally pick up a positivity lens. If the potential outcome is potentially sucky and awful, the other side of the coin has to be true. It could also be better than what we could imagine. There could be some positive outcomes that we can't see right now. Do you see how that kind of has to be a possibility? This skewed potential of always looking towards how it might all go to crap, how you're going to get screwed. The truth of that is that when you're doing that, you're already screwed. Look at what you did to your present moment. But there's a part of us that goes, nah, it's wise. You got to look for what's wrong. Sure, in reasonable amounts. But if you're honest with yourself, if I could follow you around with 2 different clickers and every time you had a positive thought about what could happen, what could come in your future, and every time you had a negative, would it be 50-50? Would it be balanced? Or would the part of you that allows you to go, hey, what could be wonderful beyond what I could imagine right now? That part is real slim, that it needs some beefing up, it needs some heft, it needs some intention and balance. So an inability to see a positive outcome is a massive indicator of depression. If someone said, Nikki, how do you make sure you're going to be depressed? I would say, make sure you don't let yourself see any positive outcome anywhere, at any time, for you or anybody else. And you will get depressed. So we have to be smarter than this part of us that thinks it's so smart and it's hypervigilance. It's so smart and it's dread. And we have to be willing to vulnerably risk for our own inner child and our own well-being of our entire lives to say, yes, okay, that negative is a possibility, but so is something lovely. So is something wonderful, and so is something positive. And if you've had a life where you've had way too much unfair, I would raise my hand and say, yep, I'm in that group too. I would say, nope, that's not a good reason to keep looking for what's sucky and bracing for it. That's an even more powerful reason that you get to hold that positivity lens. You get to intend with positivity. You get to put down that heavy, dragging dread. It takes effort. It takes intention. It takes courage, because this is attached to our survival. That's why it's so hard. It's not that you're doing it wrong. It's that it takes a lot of intention and a lot of persistence is the truth. Cues of acute or long-term dread. I just like that that's a category in this book because it highlights for an emotional person the real truth that what we're feeling right now in this moment, it has effect on today. And if I keep playing powerless in my life and practicing sucky feelings because life is hard, there's today, but there's also the culmination of all of my days. Every birthday, we can stop and turn around and go, wow, what has this year held for me? And if it was a lot of dread, would it be okay to make a different choice for the next year? For the next day? Is it okay to get ahead of long-term dread? Shaking and shuddering? Jumping at sounds, teeth chattering, weeping, hyperventilating, pleading, anxiety attacks, panic. And so many highly sensitive people have learned how to live right on that cliff's edge where they're not quite having a panic attack, but they certainly aren't calm. This is basically an unregulated nervous system. Trauma history or not, Because a lot of modern life, politics in particular, tells us that we should be upset all the time. If we're caring people, we would be upset all the time. We better get more upset. That upset is going to really do something to fix us individually and collectively. That's a lie, y'all. We have to refuse dread. We have to honor and respect our bodies and our minds so much that we say, oh no, no way am I allowing this type of dread to eat me alive, to take my present moments, and to culminate in a life where I'm raw and I'm on the edge of panic. I will not practice into that. I will refuse that with everything I've got. That is self-love. Not so much bubble baths. Not so much going to a therapist once a week and just venting. Real self-care is being able to see this and being willing and able to act in love for yourself. To say, no, I will not just sit in a constant dread just because somewhere along the way my system learned to do that. No, I can and will teach it something different. I can trust that I can see that if something bad is coming, if something difficult is here, I will deal with it. I can trust me to deal with it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to be happy about it. But I can and will deal with what I have to. We can either bring a peace to that reality or an anxious flipping out kind of energy to that reality. You get to choose. Just make sure you choose wisely. Long-term dread may escalate to anguish and to terror, especially if you had a difficult childhood. I say, no, not allowed. This is what we do in healing. We tap in our wise woman, our wise man. We're cultivating a relationship, a strength within our wisest parts so that we can tap in our wisest parts, not our most dreading parts, to drive the bus of our life. I say no to anguish, no to terror. What do you say? Here are some cues of suppressing dread. You might feel sick a lot of the time. Lots of headaches. I would say suppressing dread means there's something that needs handling right now, and we are in massive conflict avoidance. This can also be a talking ourselves out of red flags. It's highly sensitive people love to try to make a red flag green. Life gets simpler and it gets easier from that simplicity when you just simply go, yeah, that's a red flag. Bummer. I really hoped it could be green. And you deal with the simple truth of things. We might want to escape more. TV, books, music, drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, spending. We might focus thoughts on distractions to keep fear from taking over, or we might allow fear to take over and consume our moments, our days, and sadly, our lives. We also might just keep still. If we need some courage to face something in our life that needs changing, we might freeze. I hope you can hear today how much nervous system dysregulation can be a part of having a life where we dread a lot. First step is to be able to notice when your body shifts into these energies. The next step is to be able to offer yourself something different than dread. And I hope from this episode, you have more of a connection, or will allow yourself to grow into more of a connection that positive hope, peace, picking up a lens of what could be good, what could be better than you could even imagine, is part of what calibrates and balances out this propensity for dread that we may have learned and our systems may have learned are wise. We love to fancy ourselves as very modernized people in society, right? We are still, in terms of the hardware of this human body, this human brain, we're still operating on caveman hardware, y'all. Our caveman hardware programmed us to be in survival mode because we were and we had to for so long. We have evolved so much that we don't need as much real survival. A bear chasing me down, starving to death. Of course, that still happens in the human condition. But for the most of us that are waking up and getting dressed and going to work every day, we can understand, okay, I still have this caveman-esque type hardware. And I'm going to help load it with programs that bring it to peace, that don't allow that hypervigilant part of me that helped all humans survive for so long. I'm not going to let it rob me of joy and of presence today. This is what I mean when I say we need to be smarter than our smarts. We want to use our intelligence to guide us towards peace, to guide and grow us into putting down dread and picking up ease and fulfillment, peace, joy, a smile, connection. I hope there is something in this episode that helps you come to more peace with yourself, more ease. If you're looking to practice peace and you want to do that with me, come join the next peace course, Emotional Strength Training 30 Days to Peace. It is the simplest, I think, funnest way to learn how to integrate peace into your life. We are practicing emotional and mental things constantly. It's why intention is such a big part of being a healthy, highly sensitive person. Through intention, we guide ourselves. This is a journey, this life. And we get to guide ourselves away from what is uncomfortable and towards what is more comfortable. And we can know the wisdom that often the only way through is through. We don't need to avoid. We don't need to hide. We can face and grow ourselves. Come join the peace course if you want less dread and more peace. Light and love, y'all. I am an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together we are where moxie meets mindful. Light and love and less dread, y'all. I'll see you right here for a brand new episode, or I'll see you in the Patreon for exclusive episodes and commercial-free episodes. I am an emotional badass. You are an emotional badass. And together we are where moxie meets mindful. Light and love. Bye-bye.